What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a Diphenhydramine trip report for you. The title of this trip report is A Night with Diphenhydramine, and was submitted to Earwid in 2014 by the user Annie. With all that being said, let our story begin. First, a little background information. I'm the typical drug user, using few things occasionally but generally willing to give anything a go. I had taken diphenhydramine twice before, but had never had any real experience with it. The first time I took it, the dosage was too low to get any profound effects. And the second time, the dosage was so high that I have no memories of the night. When I took it this night, it was on complete impulse. I had 400 milligrams of diphenhydramine around and was feeling pretty upset, so I took it. I was sitting at my laptop at the time, talking to a few friends via Facebook. My immediate reaction was fear. As it was an impulse decision, the main things going through my mind were, oh God, what have I done? I was already feeling pretty upset, and the feeling worsened as I began to cry. Then, very, very suddenly, I stopped crying, and all feelings of fear and sadness just went away. I began to feel lightheaded and a little drowsy. I knew that it was probably kicking in. My mouth became very dry, so I went up to get a glass of water from the bathroom, and as I looked in the bathroom mirror, a straight laser of light flashed across it, making me jump slightly. I went back to the laptop after filling my glass with water. I put my iPod on and carried on talking to my friends, thinking nothing of it. I was becoming more detached and lightheaded, and flashes were starting to appear out of the corner of my eye, and they would disappear as soon as I looked their way. I hallucinated a large and vividly orange blanket on the floor that would appear and disappear randomly. Over the music of my iPod, I heard someone calling my name, so I turned it off. Meanwhile, it was becoming harder and harder to converse over Facebook, as I just couldn't comprehend the sentence structure. It's like I was reading it a word at a time and completely forgot the word before it. So understanding and replying to messages, I forgot what I was going to say, was incredibly difficult. I started to hear music from my iPod and checked several times that it was turned off. It was. I had school the next morning, and as I didn't really want to be high, I decided it would be much better to try to sleep through it, and talking was becoming way too difficult to stay on the laptop anyway. I turned the laptop off and got up to go to bed, bringing the glass of water with me. And the whole room began to spin and vibrate, and I noticed my feet were very, very heavy, like they were sinking into the floor. And everything was going very slowly, very surreal. I still had a very dry mouth, but all the drowsiness was gone. I paced for a while and decided finally to lay in bed. When I looked at my door, it began to twist and turn and seemed to be jumping away from me. I was still hearing snatches of music, but now I could hear two people talking very clearly in a foreign language. If this had happened to me in my everyday life, I probably would have been very frightened, but for some reason, it just didn't bother me. I was that detached. I started to go into an odd kind of state. Not dreaming. My eyes were open, and I know the difference. But it was like I wasn't in my room. I had full control over myself and forgot it was out of the ordinary. I remembered walking along a cobbled path talking to a friend. Each time these would end, I'd feel very confused and disorientated. As my mouth was still dry, I had to keep reaching for my water, spilling it several times because everything was still slowed down. By this point, I'd forgotten I was high and kept seeing clothes on my floor. I'm a neat freak. This never happens. And I kept trying to pick them up, but they'd disappear as soon as I tried to do so. I became pretty annoyed by this, and eventually decided to just go to sleep. I can't say the experience was a particularly good one, but nor was it bad. It didn't scare me or leave any negative impact, but it wasn't recreational or fun either. The next morning was odd. I was still lightheaded, very dry-mouthed, and things still felt very surreal. I remember how vivid the dream states were, like walking along that cobbled path. And I was pretty freaked out that my everyday life was just a dream state, and I was still high. All of these feelings and after effects subsided by lunchtime.